Hey,
Hey, how's
how
it
are you,
going?
bud?
I'm doing all right, doing good. Still in lockdown.
Yeah, as are we all.
Yeah.
Doesn't it feel good to still be in lockdown?
Yeah, it's all right. I
I
got
know. I know a guy bought a PlayStation this week.
yeah, that's me. I
Yeah,
got Final Fantasy VII Remake. 20 years in the making. 5 years officially announced. It's been pretty good.
yeah, it's great, right?
Yeah, pretty good
I
week
mean,
for me.
yeah, could not be better. Uh, yeah, I mean, this my biggest complaint about the lockdown was always that it started when when it was supposed to come out, and then they delayed it a month, and I was
Yeah.
like, God damn it! And I was convinced, this thing will be over by the time the game comes out. The game will come out, and then the lockdown will be over, and then we'll all have to go back to work.
Yeah, nope.
Once
Lucky
again, I was
me.
wrong.
Lucky me. Oh, that reminds me I have to do something today. I'll do it right after this.
File his unemployment.
Yeah.
Yeah. Still haven't gotten mine. So this is a routine checkup. We've done this a couple times now. We're going to check in with our usual cast of characters, figure out what's going on in their lives, what's going on in their area. And because we did this last one on Wednesday, there hasn't been that much changing in the news. Still a virus, still killing people, still not as many people as they said. So
Not as many
we're just
people
gonna
as Italy.
no, we're gonna ask people some more philosophical, personal questions this week about their own lives, and how this is affecting them and what they're looking forward to. So, as always, I will start off by asking my erstwhile chum, Clay Shove. Hey, Clay,
Hey,
what has this event taught you about yourself?
what has it taught me about myself? That I'm pretty good at staying inside.
Yeah, you're
Uh,
actually,
I kind of knew that already, though.
well, this taught me about you is you're handling it better than I thought you would.
Yeah, I don't mind. I'd sit inside and would like edit things for hours on end by myself, anyways, or just like check things online, catch up on the news, see what people are talking about. Um, so yeah, not a whole lot of change for me.
Yeah, that's, yeah,
Staying up a lot later. I know that my sleep schedule goes way off track real quick.
yeah, same here. I slept until 1 o'clock today. Not a good look. I don't like it. You shouldn't be 30 sleep until 1 o'clock. That's my feeling.
No, unless you're
Uh,
working night shift.
and I'm not. I'm not working at all. No one is, except everyone on the show. I'm the only one who's. You and I are the only ones who are unemployed. What the fuck's that about?
I don't know.
Uh, Well, our next question is if you had known this was all going to happen as it has, is there something you'd have done differently to prepare? But you, my friend, and I will vouch for you, you did know it was going to happen.
Yeah, this is pretty much how I expected it would go down, and I
Yeah.
prepared exactly as well as I could have. And yeah, I've got plenty of food, got plenty of toilet paper. I'm just rocking and rolling. How about you? Would you have prepared differently?
Yes. Uh, I spent all week trying to find a place to go buy a gun.
Oh yeah.
Um, Gun stores have reopened here,
Well, that's good.
and I got my Trump bucks. Um,
Oh, nice.
but they have to. The new thing here is it's all by appointment only. So all the appointment windows are like 3 weeks away, and I don't really. I guess I don't have a choice but to wait 3 weeks, but I'd rather not wait 3 weeks. So I'd have bought a gun before all this happened where I could go in. Plus, if I'm going to make the appointment and I got to wait 3 weeks, you're sort of stuck on what their inventory is 3 weeks from now.
Yeah. Yeah, I did buy some ammo. I mean, I didn't have that much money I had to spend it mostly on food and supplies and stuff, but I did buy some ammo. I did clean my guns for the first time
Mm,
in a while, longer than I should.
yeah. Yeah, I have to clean my pistol, but it's just such a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
Uh, all right, final question for you. What's the number one thing you're looking forward to doing once this is all over?
Uh, I want to get some Bonchon chicken wings. I've been thinking about those for like a week now. I'm like, man, I don't have any fucking chicken wings. I've not had those in so long. I did make some kind of sliders,
Mm-hmm.
so that was pretty nice. Some burger sliders.
That is it's funny you say that chicken wings is the one thing I was like, God damn, I miss chicken wings.
Yeah,
So I actually made some the other night, which I love chicken wings, but I don't know. When you make them yourself, it's not as fun as getting them made for you.
yeah,
They kind of take a while, you know?
yeah,
It's a lot of work because you got to toss the sauce and everything. Yeah.
yeah. So
Can we can we agree that the microwavable like TGIF Fridays in a bag chicken wings are the worst?
yeah,
Yeah, I mean those things suck. I don't know why you can't get chicken or buffalo wings at a grocery store without them sucking dick.
Yeah, any of the frozen foods, I make them in the oven. I don't microwave that stuff.
Yeah. All right. Do we have someone in the waiting room?
Yes, we do. We'll bring him in now. Here comes Trey.
Hey, Trey. Welcome back.
Hello.
Sorry we missed you last time.
No worries. No worries. I understand there's a number of technical things that are just always popping up, always these challenges.
Yeah, people connecting the audio on Zoom just it takes a minute for it to connect. You'd think it would start doing that while you were in the waiting room, but
Yeah.
no dice.
Hmm. So we're gonna do it like we did last time. We're just gonna go through a list of questions. Anything new in your world going on with the coronavirus?
I mean, in terms of new, just wrapped up my play. Had a Zoom reading of it this past Friday. Actually, Clay was there for that.
I was there on Zoom.
Yeah.
I was playing Final Fantasy VII Remake, so I recorded it to watch later.
Okay, great. I also have a YouTube link too if you're recording as it turned out. But yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah. So but thanks for sitting in.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that was fun. And right now I'm just working on some new work. But other than that, nothing terribly new or interesting has been happening. Just bouncing around meetings.
Mm-hmm. Do you still has your feeling about the coronavirus changed at all?
In terms of,
Just your feelings. I mean, has your threat level gone up or down or?
I mean, I would say it's fairly constant. I think that I mean, if I feel anything, it might be some slight improvement over the fact that measures seem to be working. Uh,
Mm,
that there is a flattening of curves and projections are turning out to be more optimistic than they originally were. I hope that we can maintain that.
mm,
That our decisions, whether as political figures or just as individuals, will actually create benefit in the future
right.
rather than more complications. And so optimistic there. Of course, would love for there to be treatment, but the just consequence of time moving forward is that we're moving closer to that moment anyway. So
Mm.
um, so yeah,
So you're feeling better.
yeah. I mean, but I mean, yeah, feeling better. I guess I would say like not better than I expected to feel. I didn't feel terrible before. But, I don't feel worse. I guess is maybe
Yeah.
it's maybe a better way for me to frame it.
Yeah. No, that makes sense to me. So, there wasn't too much going on in the news this week since we did our last show. So today we're doing a little more philosophical questions.
Yeah.
And you seem like you're probably the right guy to ask these sort of questions to. Anyways, you seem like a thoughtful guy. So what have you learned about yourself during this whole thing, or your family? Because you're at home with your family, right?
Yeah, home with my family. Well, I would say that what I've learned about myself is that it's perfectly fine to feel anxious, perfectly fine to feel kind of a rush of negative feelings or worry. I mean, that's a very human feeling, and at the center of that feeling, at the same time, there is the question: okay, what do I need right now? Like what is this feeling actually responding to? Uh,
Mm,
and what is within my kind of sphere of influence to try to help mitigate this feeling? Um, and I mean, I've always held to that latter point, but I think now having more opportunity to practice with it, especially when the stakes are very existential uh,
mm,
for myself and others that I care for, it's important for me. But also, I would also say too one thing that I probably since I was a child have always just mortality has always just been a fixation of my mental activity, and I would say even more so now, um, in a very kind of real sense. I think before, obviously, you can intellectualize the fact that you're going to die and there's death, and and I've experienced a great loss in my life. From my father, grandparents, like people who were parent figures to me, like so, like so death is not anything new to me. But I think that what I've experienced with this whole pandemic, and even right before the pandemic, actually, when it was just kind of well, before the shutdowns, when it was just kind of really broiling on the news the first time, I felt this kind of shifting awareness.
mm,
There was kind of that if you could imagine all of time and space is just like one vast expanse, that where we are right now was beginning to feel more like a bubble. And that we were like very much contained within this bubble, and there was something beyond the bubble that I couldn't directly perceive necessarily, but I could sense a bit more clearly the presence of that, just because I could feel more. So I guess like the limits of where we were. Uh,
Yeah. I agree with that. It does. It seems what's going on. It's like an alien attack. It just came out of nowhere. I
yeah,
mean, nothing any of us could have done to prevent it, and then it's changed everything.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's a bit odd to
Yeah,
put
it's
it
very
lightly.
odd, and I think like I lie in bed at night sometimes, and still as a child again, I never liked to hear the sound of my own heartbeat. There was something very mechanical about the body that was kind of really brought to the surface when listening to my own heartbeat lying in bed at night. And I think like now there's like a bone deep awareness of like my finality,
Hmm.
or at least of this body, whatever you want to believe happens afterwards, check a box. But essentially like that there is going to come a point in time where this body will no longer be a body. It will just be a collection of atoms that are dispersed throughout space. Um and
Well, this is cheery.
anyway, but but uh
Yeah.
but it will disintegrate in a very rapid way. um
Well, let's move on to the next question then.
Now, while you're still here in this body,
Yeah.
if you could do one thing, what is the one thing that you're looking forward to the most when this is all over? Or like if it stopped today and I was like, oh, sorry, we were wrong. It turns out not that bad.
yeah,
Go on about your lives. What would you look forward to doing?
I mean, probably just finding a way to be with my friends. um I don't really have a location in mind per se, but just being around people, like,
House party.
yeah, maybe a house party, or even just like walking. One thing actually, I love airports. I love air travel, because there's something about being alone around a lot of people that is
Hmm.
very, very comforting.
It's
It's,
about like the train.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So I
Like
think,
no TSA.
so I mean, honestly, maybe I would just catch a flight somewhere. Like that seems to really kind of encapsulate everything. Catch a flight to where my friends are and just post up somewhere on the beach.
Yeah, the beach. Beach
Nice.
is something I'm looking forward to.
Yeah.
Even though I don't know if you can tell from looking at me, Trey, but I'm white. Uh, and the second I step on the beach, I usually have a sunburn.
Oh shucks.
Yeah. So is there is there a story or an idea that you saw going around this week that you don't think got enough attention?
Uh, I don't think got enough attention. Well, I mean, one thing is I've been very much kind of cutting down my media diet, um, since it's just an onslaught. But
Mm.
I think what I've seen and probably the things that had gotten a lot of attention, and especially the protests that are happening in Michigan and other places, pushing back against stay-at-home orders and those kinds of things. Um, yeah, which when it comes to protesting, like, I'm a very big fan of protesting. I think it's important to hold power accountable. To
Mm.
realize that just because you have a position in our government does that mean that you are the end all be all. And coming from living in China for X number of years, right? I mean, like, that was a foreign concept in China. Like, you don't, the government says this and you do it. And so I have a greater respect, I think, as a result of that, for our freedoms here in America to express our ideas. At the same time, I have a problem with the way that some have chosen to go about doing it.
Mm.
I think it's great. Yes, be in your car, honk your horns, mail in letters, get really angry. Like on Facebook, express yourself. I mean, like you have a valid concern, yes. Um, but when you are standing outside and you are in large crowds and you're not protecting, you're being willfully defiant in that ways, you are now making decisions for the rest of our health, for things that you want to do at that point in time, because you are exposing yourself to this virus. And there are very likely going to be consequences from that. Not just for yourself, which if you want to hold it for yourself, hey, that's fine. That's your prerogative. But now you're a spreader. Now you're going out and now you're infecting other people, maybe resulting in deaths for them. And that's deeply irresponsible. And so,
Mm.
so that is the thing that is really bothering me, with that. And then seeing to, like, I think that political leaders, even ones here in Virginia, for example, like Amanda Chase, who's the state senator for my district, I kind of really, I I expressed my disappointment with her on her Facebook page yesterday around this because she's also fanning these flames. Um, and I think there's a way to do it where you can still express the spirit and be very true to what you want to happen. And there's a way to also do it responsibly and be responsive to the fact that let's not always get in the habit of politicizing everything. You know,
Mhm.
very clearly, people are getting sick, people are dying. Like we know these things as facts. What are some intelligent ways we can do to mitigate the impact of death, also the impact on people's positions in their economies?
Yeah.
And so that's one thing that has been on my mind in terms of the news, at least.
Yeah, I think I agree. I think the coverage of those protests has been a bit shallow, and depending on where you look to see the coverage, it's either they're 100% right or they're 100% wrong, and there's definitely a discussion that can be had in the middle there.
Yeah,
But
I agree.
great, thank you for joining us.
Of course.
I'm glad we could get you this time, and if you can send Clay and I the link to that YouTube video, we'll
Yep.
go ahead and we'll put your play. We'll put it in the post for this one.
Sure. Thank you.
We'll link to that. So look in the comment or look in the description for this video. What's the name of the play?
It's called Pretty Eyes Like Brown Diamonds.
Pretty Eyes Like Brown Diamonds. Great.
Yeah.
And we'll share that. And thank you for joining us.
All right,
Thanks,
perfect.
Trey.
Thank you guys. Have a great day.
You too.
All right, you too.
Thank you.
All right, we'll bring Hannah in.
From Texas.
All right, let's see here.
Hi guys, how's it going?
Hey, Hannah,
Good, how
how's
are
it
you?
going?
Doing pretty good.
How are things in Texas?
Same old, same old. We just got a order from the county the other day saying that everyone has to wear masks when they go out in public now.
That is in Pennsylvania. That's the rule starting now.
Wow.
So I actually I got the missus to make me it's a homemade balaclava.
Uh-huh.
It's a little funky looking, but it'll count.
Yeah, it still does the job, I suppose.
Yeah, she made it. I had to go to Joanne Fabrics. So if you can imagine me in the Joanne Fabrics, especially during a pandemic where I had to wait in a line outside an hour to get inside to begin with. But she found this template and she stitched together and I put it on and my head's so giant it's smashing my face in. But more motivation to get in and out of the stores quick, huh?
Yeah, for real. Just to get rid of the weird headgear.
Have you? Yeah. Well, I just feel like I should be able to do this and just go to the store. But every time I make that joke to her, she says it's time to shave.
It's inappropriate, doesn't
So
work.
how are you feeling about you feel better, worse since the last time we talked about the coronavirus? Do you think it's getting better? Do you think it's getting more dangerous?
I feel my feeling is that we've hit the peak or are about to hit the peak. I honestly haven't looked at numbers lately, but I'm thinking this can't continue too much longer. Our county's authorities are feeling pretty optimistic about hospital capacity. Like they're set up to open up like an emergency field hospital at the convention center downtown, and now they're saying that they're not going to need to do that at all.
Mhm.
Like we're over the worst of it, and they're pretty confident they can handle things.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Our last guest just said that it's like as it goes forward every day, you're getting closer to treatments, closer to vaccines.
Mhm.
So it can't really do anything but get better unless there's unless there's some sort of outbreak of potentially.
Yeah. It's just a matter of just keeping everything running until we get vaccines and antiviral drugs or whatever else the smarter people than I am are working on.
Yeah. So this thing seems like it's going to go on forever. But what's something you've learned about yourself during this whole lockdown or your family? Because you're at home with the husband.
Mm-hmm.
Is it just you two?
Yeah, just the two of us. It's been really good for us just because we've had a lot of time together and probably more time together since when we first started dating. So we've really enjoyed that. I think it's really driven home the point that we need more hobbies and interests outside of work. Though
Mm-hmm.
we've like started picking up some new, like I mentioned before that he got a smoker and has started learning how to smoke meats. But I think going forward, we're gonna make a little more time for non-work activities.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. For all of us, not just for you.
Yeah.
If you had known all this was going to go down the way it has, is there anything you would have done differently to prepare?
Yeah, I guess going forward, I'm gonna make more of an effort to keep like some household essentials on hand, just so because I don't this. There's always gonna be something. There's always gonna be something happening where they'll affect supply chains, or maybe it's a hurricane or a snowstorm and stuff like that. So I'm gonna make more of an effort going forward to keep household essentials on hand. Um, and yeah, I think that's probably the biggest change I'm gonna be making.
Yeah, basically,
Mhm.
if it doesn't expire, then when it goes on sale, buy in
Mhm.
bulk.
Yeah, like it doesn't hurt you to have like, a 40-pound bag of rice in hand
Yeah.
or some extra cleaning supplies.
Yeah. What's the number one thing you're looking forward to doing once it's all done?
Oh my goodness, I can't wait to go to a patio with our friends after this is over and just like sit out there in the sun, sip a beer. I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah. Yeah. I miss people.
Yeah. Yeah, for real.
Uh,
We're
is,
working up like a short list of like all the places, or like post quarantine bucket list of all the places we're gonna hit up when it's over.
yeah, we were there's a place we like that we were going to try and sneak over to, and we just found out it's closed. So,
Oh, I'm
yeah,
sorry.
so hopefully everything will be there once this is all done, right? But if
Yeah.
not, you'll just find new patios.
Hmm.
Yeah, the
Um,
patios will still be there.
yeah, that's right. You can just
Yeah.
go sit in the patios. They can't chain up the patios.
Nope.
Is there a story or an idea you don't think's getting enough attention this week?
I've been talking to folks, and some of the people I talk to have basically just been holed up in their house for a month, and they are climbing the walls and just having a really miserable time of it. I think the most important thing that isn't getting enough attention is the importance of just like going outside and getting some exercise and fresh air in the middle of this. Like it's still loud. It doesn't present a danger to anybody else as long as you're maintaining your social distancing. So I think just you've got to find ways to keep yourself occupied during this so you don't go insane. And I think just getting outside, take a walk, going for a hike or whatever is really, really important right now.
Yeah, activity is key, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess our last thing here is what are you watching? What are you doing? Hiking, but aside from hiking, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Something that people watching might be able to do as well.
So we are rewatching Community right now, which is it's freaking hilarious. Especially so for me because I took a few classes at community college back in the day, so I was really relating to that. Community's pretty funny. We're probably gonna start The Office again. Start The Office again soon, and then The Patriot on Amazon is pretty legit.
Is it?
Kind of like a Veep, but for the CIA.
I'm gonna write that down. Uh, great, good suggestions. Thank you for joining us, Hannah.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
It's good talking to you, and we'll see you again soon.
Take care.
Take care.
All right.
Look at us staying on schedule.
We're almost back on schedule. I'm about to bring Ryan in, I guess. He's next, I think, right?
Yeah.
Ryan.
How you doing, bud?
I'm well. How are you guys doing?
I think I'm doing good.
That's
Doing
good.
pretty good. My
That's good.
PlayStation 4 came in, so I've been playing Final Fantasy 7 Remake.
That's fantastic.
It's been doing all right.
Mm-hmm.
Ryan, I don't know if you saw that they're doing curbside pickup at our state liquor stores now. That just started today, I believe. No, tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, they were going to be facing a lot of issues. They
Yeah.
couldn't do that.
Yeah. So
Pretty upset.
just so you know, Clay, here's the way our governor decided to do it.
When
Close
when has lack of alcohol access ever caused civil unrest in this country? Come on, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, I was thinking about it. I can't think of a single time. You're right.
Yeah,
Uh, our governor first just closed all the
blank of a memory
stores.
in the late 20s and 30s. But go on.
Our governor first closed all the stores, and then they decided to set up an online portal, which they could not figure out and kept crashing. So now their new system is they're not really making it clear which stores. Their press release included every store in the state, but it's only certain stores. But you can call up between 9 a.m. and 1 p.m., and they'll take orders of up to 6 bottles until they can't take orders anymore, which no real guidelines on what that means. And then you could drive down there and pick it up at the curb.
6 bottles.
Yeah.
Nice.
But again, they haven't published what those guidelines are for what it means that they can't take orders anymore.
Now, is that only for the liquor stores? Does that also apply to the beer distributors as well?
All my beer distributors are still open. So
that's good.
I think it's just the state-run liquor stores.
I wonder how many people are using grain alcohol to try to make homemade hand sanitizer.
Not a bad idea.
It works. The recipe's out there for sure.
And in PA, once the liquor stores are open again, you can get that 151 Everclear. So,
Mm-hmm.
all right. Anything new?
Camping fuel.
Anything new going on up in your area, Ryan?
It stopped snowing, so that's nice. It's been snowing for about a week, but yeah, everything's pretty fine. People seem to be doing well. The grocery store has mountains of toilet paper available for one roll per purchase.
How about onions?
It goes back and forth. Sometimes they have them, sometimes they don't. It's right now. I think there's logistical issues where some stuff comes in, some stuff doesn't. I was craving green olives. All the black olives were there. No green olives. It's weird. We just have to live with this terrible world. So.
Is that real? You can only buy one roll of toilet paper at a time?
Well, okay. It's like single purchase packaging.
Right.
You can buy multiple, but they've got pallets and pallets and pallets of single package toilet paper.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You ever? Well, I don't want to get into that. I was about to start getting deep into the toilet paper talk. How are you feeling about this whole thing? I'm sure of all of our guests, you probably have the most similar to my take on the protests that are going on.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you feel about everything that's happening? What's your current status of your feelings on the pandemic?
It's good to see that eventually some people will get frustrated enough to go out and honk their horn.
Mm-hmm.
But all it takes is just, you take away our liberties for a month, and oh boy. But yeah, it's certainly interesting. And I think what's more interesting too is, of course, the counter to the protest of people, like, how dare they go out and make noise during the day?
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand. There's a lot of strange things happening right now, and I think a lot of people are frustrated on all sides of it, and for lots of different reasons. But it's hopefully everything sort of just kind of gets back to the way it should be, the way the normal is. I mean, we can't keep quashing it. Like, they're opening up liquor stores, but at the same time, there's a requirement that essential workers have to wear masks. So if you want to go to work, you have to wear a mask. Not necessarily a bad idea, but again, it's just one of those things where, why do we have to wear a mask? We should, but the difference is being forced to. That's the difference.
Yeah,
but
I agree.
Anyway,
Clay, you want to ask a question?
Yeah. Well, my most interesting question is what is the one thing that you're most looking forward to doing after this is all over? Like, if it were just to end tomorrow and they were like, oh, turns out we were wrong, doesn't really kill anybody. What was the one thing that you would most look forward to doing?
Well, I doubt that even if that were true, they would say it. But my day-to-day hasn't really changed too much. I still go to the grocery store once a week or so, and I still go to work every day. My life hasn't really been affected too much by this. In terms of what I'd be looking forward to, probably the Chinese place opening up again. Like, the carry-out place is there, but it's the buffet that's closed. And I'll probably get that. But other than that,
Chinese buffet.
I know, right? And this one's mediocre, but it's in the middle of nowhere. So what are you going to do? But it's something. And that's probably the only thing that's really changed for the most part.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, best part of any Chinese buffet is the pizza.
Mm-hmm. This one
soaked in MSG.
This one doesn't really have a lot. It's not great, but it's in the middle of nowhere, and what are you going to do?
Yeah. All right. Our last of our set questions. If you known all this stuff was going to go down, is there anything you'd have done differently to prepare?
Not
anything
really.
You regret not doing?
No. I've had no shortages. I've had no issues. Nothing has really changed. Gas prices are down. Everything's going fine for me. I'm not experiencing any issues or any problems. I've had no real frustrations at all.
Except
Even
for
though
green olives.
Well, okay. The one thing. Yeah. The one time I would have green olives, they didn't have green olives. But even then, it's not that big of a deal.
You're the Warren Buffett of this pandemic.
A lot of other people are coming out better than I am, but I'm doing decent. So
Is there one story or idea that went around this week that you don't think got enough attention?
I don't know. Maybe I just didn't pay it that much attention. I didn't really see anything too interesting. It was a pretty boring week, and I think most people, with the exception of the protests, which we just talked about a little bit, it was
Mhm.
just a lot of rehashing of, oh well, this person said something inconsequential, and how dare they, and oh, how dare they make questioning my ability to say something inconsequential, and just it's just rat race crap. It's just boring and
Yeah.
nothing
Okay.
interesting, which is good.
Yeah, that's why we have more philosophical questions today versus news items.
Yeah, exactly.
Uh, finally, you got a recommendation for anybody? Something to do, something to watch?
Mm,
Last time it was Doki Doki Literature Club.
yes.
Is it still? Are we still on that?
No. I finished that series. Let's see. What have I been watching? I've been watching. Um, I've been going through Columbo on Amazon Prime.
Oh, Columbo's on
Yeah,
Amazon Prime?
yeah, it is. Just
Ooh.
just all 6 seasons and one more thing. Oh yeah,
I'll have
so
to
good.
bleep that part out until Amazon Prime pays us to promote it.
Yeah.
Actually, I think it's technically through IMDb. It has commercials, but it's worth it. It's all of them, the good ones and the bad ones.
Yeah, Columbo's great. Was that
Hmm.
Peter Falk, right?
Yeah, Peter Falk
I've
as
never watched it. I've heard it referenced 1,000 times.
well, if let me pick out one episode for you. You can watch it. It's directed by Steven Spielberg, and it's amazing.
Which
Do you know the
episode
name of
is
the
it?
episode?
Uh, I to let's see. It's Right M for Murder or something along those lines.
Okay.
It's a fantastic double homicide.
All
Really
right.
classy.
That's what you want out of your double homicides too. Something classy.
I know. Just it's really I don't know. It's just classic Falk.
Yeah. Well, thanks for joining us, Ryan. It's good talking to you. Stay safe up there. I didn't even know it was snowing in Pennsylvania. So,
Yeah, yeah. Well, some parts of it, mostly here.
well, keep those chains on your tires, and we'll talk again soon.
Indeed, indeed.
All right. Take care, bud.
Bye.
All right.
Do we have? Is it just Paisley left?
Yep.
Yeah, I think Brian's working.
Hello.
Hey, Paisley, how's
Hey.
it going?
Good. How are you?
Good.
Cool. All right.
How's your quarantine been down there in
Greensboro.
Yeah. So far pretty much the same. Our city though has the 17th, which was Friday, was our like last day of stay-at-home orders, and instead of the city keeping that, they're just going now with the state mandate, which is kind of interesting. Our governor pretty much wrote a letter in the paper saying, hey, please stay at home. Here are your restrictions, because I guess a lot of people have been going out. And our beaches, which are about 3 miles from Greensboro, have opened up in cities, which for me, it's not like I'm going to go, it's 3.5 hours away,
Mhm.
but could be, people not distancing themselves. Yeah.
So
Be a
is
good
the
case
state
study.
is the state order substantially different than the city order?
It was pretty much about the same. I believe that a lot of residents were having some confusion in our city versus like which is which. And like I said, our governor recently wrote in the papers kind of like a hey, here's what this order entails, here's what you can do, here's what you should do,
Mm-hmm.
please continue doing this. And I think that clarity is good, and I kind of prefer the state uh, feeling of it, just so that like it's a wider thing versus like our city versus our county versus another city, which could get really complicated. Even our order was a county order, and it was a really big deal because um, my county is Guilford County, and we also have another bigger city called High Point, which they host a furniture market, which has been canceled, which is the first time since World War that it's been
Yeah.
canceled, which is a pretty big thing to cancel in our, again, for our events in our area. So,
When I lived in the Carolinas, furniture is the industry for the state.
mhm.
So, just for context for people watching, if they don't know that,
Yeah.
the whole state's about furniture.
Well, I think it's kind of changed a little bit, but for my next city over, which is about like 15 minutes away. That market happens twice a year. It fills all our hotels. It is like on our calendar years in advance. And
Mm-hmm.
for it to be canceled is a pretty big deal.
So with them canceling the furniture market, does that change how you feel about the coronavirus? Is it freaking you out more now? I mean, they're
um,
even canceling the furniture market.
I think it just kind of shows how big of an impact this is. It isn't something we should be taking lightly, as far as the general overview of it. And I think it's definitely going to be, we should, keep our distance and, stay in our space and try to stay safe, wear those masks, because otherwise it's not going to get any better anytime soon.
How's your neighbor nurse?
She's doing pretty well. She has volunteered to work in the kind of corona hospital, but she's not like the first on the list to do that. But she's also had like scheduled vacation time, and she decided not to take that time and has gone into work some more. But so far, so good. I want to say last weekend we were all out kind of in our distant backyards working on our backyards. So
Mhm.
we're all just trying to keep our distance, but we also, talk to each other on a frequent basis.
Good. All right. Well, we'll jump into our questions. What has this taught you about yourself?
Um, I would say it taught me that like I grew up as an only child, so for me it just really reminds me of hanging out on a weekend, maybe when I was grounded, just staying at home, working on things. So mainly it's just kind of like getting me back into like my creative side. I've done a lot of arts and crafts,
Mhm.
which has been really nice and just kind of reminded me to slow down a little bit, because sometimes I just get in that circle of work, sleep, repeat. And
Mhm.
it's nice to kind of have something a little bit different and kind of value, the people who I hung out with on a regular basis, who I'm now having to call or having to like write letters, which is kind of nice too.
Clay.
I've definitely been feeling that the creativity stuff. This is one of a few of the shows that I've been doing, and just like video editing and like doing all the stuff that I didn't have time to do when I was working all day every day. Um, yeah, so I will ask the question that I like, which is, what is the number one thing you're looking forward to doing once this is all over? If it were just over tomorrow, what's the number one thing you'd want to do?
I would try to find a good concert and I would either drive to it or go to it. I really do miss going and seeing live music, as well as just hanging out at like a bar with people who have similar interests as you. Being in a room full of strangers is sometimes more comforting than like, being alone at home.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel that. If you known all this was going to go down, is there anything you'd have done differently to prepare?
I would have prepared more in my work atmosphere where we are event based and we, want people to come and visit. I would be trying to maybe have those Zoom backgrounds ahead of time, maybe have some, you can't visit us now. Let's plan ahead later. I know that's like really nerdy on the work side, but it would have saved me a lot of time now to just
Mhm.
have that ready and just have that content. That would be a huge help, huge benefit.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that answer. I mean,
Yeah,
it's life's got to go on, right?
exactly.
Is there a story or an idea floating around out there you don't think got enough attention this week?
Well, I'm sure that people have seen it. I personally just think that there should be more attention to it. The U.S. Postal Service uh, could be shut down, could get privatized, could not have enough money in like 3 to 4 months. I personally love getting mail, and I like the U.S. Postal Service since it is kind of the, government's mail, and I
Mhm.
just hope that it continues. I think that if it all gets privatized, we'd be like the first country to have that, and I just think that's very weird and a little scary. So, yeah,
I haven't heard about that at all.
yeah, it's
Last I heard, I thought the CARES Act bought all their debt out.
it's
I guess not.
no, and I mean, again, that could be just like I've heard it in a different version than what you've heard, and
Mm.
that's kind of where I'm at, where it's like I've heard a bunch of different things, and mainly the postal service is just another thing that shouldn't get lost from this virus.
Finally, you got anything you want to recommend to folks? Something to watch, something to do?
So I don't know if you guys are drinking or doing anything like with like unused materials in your house, but I have taken all my corks that I've accumulated since I've been like 21 and I've made a wreath. So I would just say maybe do some crafting. If you look behind me, we actually did that this weekend, some home improvements. Um, so I made like record racks and then I have a thing of buttons, like all those pins that you collect, and I framed them.
Nice. Good
Great.
answer.
Yeah.
Well, Paisley, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you again
Yeah.
soon.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
Talk soon.
stay safe.
Bye.
Bye.
All
Well,
right.
there you have it, bud.
Yeah. So me and Ryan are the only ones who are just missing different foods.
Yeah.
Everyone else is like, oh, I can't wait to see my friends again. I can't wait to be around people. Oh, I've been kept from people for so long through this whole thing. I just need to be around people again. And me and Ryan are like, I don't know, Bonchon chicken wings sounds good.
Yeah. Well,
I haven't really noticed the people so much missing.
that would be my answer to that question. Like the thing I've learned about myself is, as you know, when I was living in Richmond, I was pretty strict. If I went home and got my shoes off, that was probably it. If you didn't make a plan for me to go back out that night, I'm not going back out.
Yeah.
I thought of myself as a pretty like solitary dude, but the longer this has gone on, I didn't realize even if I'm not interacting with folks, just being around people, there's a part of me that really needs that.
Yeah.
I thought I was much more of a like homebody than I am.
Yeah, I think I pretty much get it through like video chats like this. That there's something that people miss through that, and I don't know. It doesn't. I guess it feels a little different. I got headphones on, but other than that, I'm talking to a person. I can see their face. I don't know.
Yeah, to me, what am I trying to say?
No, there's definitely something missing for most people. I know I'm
The video chat's very performative. You have to be there, and now if you're on it, there's an expectation that you're involved in that conversation.
yeah.
I guess I just sort of miss being around people where you could take 3 minutes and just sort of zone out and just sort of stand around and experience people without having to be liable for that conversation. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Maybe you ought to get a VR headset. Then we can hang out in VR.
It's true. We could do stand up in VR.
Yeah, I haven't even cracked mine out through this whole thing.
Yeah. Well, this has been Routine Checkup. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you again soon.
See you on the next one.